recorded.
The home of Aztecs basketball, San Diego Sports 760, KGB and KGB FM HD2 San Diego, number 1 on your car radio preset and on the new and improved iHeart Radio app. Free never sounded so good.
This sport is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. The San Diego Padres opening day roster will feature Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, Martin Maldonado, Gavin Sheets, and Brandon Lockridge, according to Kevin Acey. And the Lakers are in Orlando tonight, start a 4-game road trip. They're currently favored by 3.5. Tip will be at 4 o'clock. The Lakers come off a brutal performance against the Chicago Bulls, where they gave up 146 points. Everyone is healthy except Rui is questionable. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
Check the clock.
What time is it?
It's high noon.
Yoo-hoo. I'll make you famous.
The day is half over. Now it's time to enter the Fletch Zone.
Yeah, let's get it going on a Monday. Sammy Long, welcome back to work after a couple days last week, Thursday, Friday, where our show was preempted by the NCAA tournament. We are back. We are rearing. We are ready to go here on a Monday as we react to 4 really good days in the NCAA tournament, as we react to the Padres bench finally being set after a grueling spring training of this season, and as we get you ready for Thursday, which is opening day for the San Diego Padres in the year 2025. What is going to be acceptable for this team in terms of wins and losses? Is it playoffs or bust? What are fan expectations heading into the season? Lots of questions that will need to be answered before these San Diego Padres get going on Thursday. Also, breaking news. We're on YouTube.
We're live on YouTube, guys.
If you want to see us more than just on X, and I know that a lot of people don't have X, don't like X, that's fine. We are over on the YouTube. You can go to SD Sports 760. I believe I have that right. SD Sports 760. Maybe it's San Diego Sports 760.
San Diego Sports 760. It's also up on X. So if you want to go to the San Diego Sports 760 account or the Fletch Zone account, you can hit us up on X, or you can go check us out on YouTube. We appreciate everyone who tunes in.
In fact, if you're used to being one of our texters, we love our text line. We really do. And I'll leave it open on my screen, but I'd prefer to just read the YouTube chat today. I really would. Go subscribe. It's a brand new station YouTube account. We're excited for it. We're looking to launch this thing, send it up into the stratosphere. Sammy and I will be live on there every single day. John and Jim will be live on there every single day. So if you want to find San Diego Sports 760 content, that is the place for you. At San Diego Sports 760 on YouTube. Go give us a subscription there. We'll shout out everybody who does so. Sammy, before we get to the big three today, some very sad news to pass along on a Monday. Our buddy Bryce Miller has lost his battle with cancer. Our buddy Bryce Miller, who reported for the Union Tribune for years and years and years, has unfortunately passed away over the weekend on Saturday. I got the news. Very, very sad. If you read Bryce's articles over the years, you know he wasn't just pigeonholed into one sport. He wasn't pigeonholed into one thing. He liked to cover it all. And he did so with horse racing, did so with fishing, did so with the Olympics, and did a really bang-up job covering San Diego State Aztecs basketball, San Diego Padres baseball. He was a mainstay in the press box at pretty much everything San Diego sports. Bryce will be missed. Look, he worked basically all the way up until the time he was in the hospital, until he checked in for the final time. He has an article written this year as early as January, as early as February, actually, I think, where he was writing on Tiger Woods withdrawing from the Genesis Open. Bryce Miller is a good buddy of mine. I love that man. I love what he did for San Diego. I'm not going to say I was as close to him as anybody, even in this building, but I like to think that Bryce and I had a nice little relationship over the years, and the world is a little bit less today in San Diego without Bryce Miller's positive voice, without his writing skills. He was one of a kind, and rest in peace, Bryce. Hopefully there's plenty of fish biting up wherever you are. Hopefully there's plenty of whiskey to be drank, which are two of Bryce's favorite things. The man loved to fish. The man loved to drink. And you know what? Today, if you have a moment, just think about Bryce a little bit, because man, oh man, San Diego sports, we just got a little less informed, I would like to think, without Bryce Miller in our world. All right, Sammy, let's get into it. Hit that button, baby.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big Three.
Fletch, March Madness has been off to a great start in both of our opinions. I know some people have been criticizing the lack of upsets online, but what team has stood out to you so far through the first 2 games of the weekend?
I mean, Duke is looking unbeatable at this point. Or they're hitting from an insane rate from 3. I tell you what, man, I really liked watching New Mexico play their 2 games. Like, they lost yesterday to Michigan State. It was a kind of a weird final 10 minutes of that game. It was back and forth. It was a heavyweight battle for most of it. And then Nelly Jr. Joseph gets knocked out of the game because of fouls, and his last 2 fouls I thought were a bit ticky-tacky. But New Mexico, I thought, was actually poised up to make a pretty good run, but they could not get over Michigan State. Auburn's played well, not great. The only team I would say that's played great is Duke so far. You look at the game that was between UConn and Florida. That was maybe the best game we've had so far over the 4 days. But Duke is the only real standout so far. If I had to pick a national champion today, it's them.
It's funny. I think your national champion is getting beat on Friday. I think Arizona is going to upset Duke.
Really?
I called this last week.
Not if Duke is shooting threes at the way they're shooting them right now.
Listen, Duke's unreal, but Baylor was not really equipped to beat them. They just the way they foul a lot. They only have a couple, really 2 or 3 guys that can really play the guard spot and down low. I think Arizona, Caleb Love, KJ Lewis on defense. I mean, he was everywhere last night. They got the bigs to possibly match Investar and Awaka, but I thought they played very well. I think Michigan's also a little bit of a team that's scary for Auburn at the top there. Because
speaking of Michigan, we got to give some props to the UCSD Tritons. The way they played, look, they had a shot at the buzzer to win that game. It came down to be 1 possession. UCSD put up a hell of a fight, but Michigan just in the end too big. Having 2 7-footers on the court at the same time is tough.
They were too big, and I think Michigan State also jumps out in the sense that I know they're a 2 seed, but they kind of were a disrespected 2 seed in the sense that everyone felt like they didn't have a single player in their starting lineup that was all conference in the Big Ten. So it's kind of insane that they're this high in the tournament. They're a very complete team. I know New Mexico played very well, but they had trouble in that game and showed a lot of heart and grit to just kind of buckle down and win that game. But I think the rest of the way is going to be exceptional.
So you got Arizona beating Duke?
I have it in my brackets. I called this a week ago on this show.
Are you falling in love with your brackets a little bit too much, maybe?
My brackets are pretty nice.
I'm proud
and
of you.
We made a lot. We had
completely toasted.
We hit multiple overs yesterday. Kentucky came through on us on the money line. We had a good day yesterday.
Look at Sammy. I will say, to your first point, people criticizing the NCAA tournament so far, get lost, dude. It's been great so far, I think. I mean, you look at what we've gotten. We've had some games come down to the wire. Colorado State, Maryland comes down to the wire. Maryland probably got away with the travel, but that's been the one close game, and everyone's bitching and moaning about it. So what do you want? Do you want close games? Do you want blowouts? Because I don't really know what you want from us. I think it's been a great 4 days of basketball so far. I'm pumped for this Sweet 16. I think we have the best teams in the country still in the field. This is about as good as it gets for me. Yeah, we haven't had any crazy buzzer-beating moments outside of the one from Maryland, but it's been about as good as it gets.
Yeah, I think it's been an excellent tournament. And again, we're going to get this in the next segment a little bit about the NIL and everything. Blue Bloods are good for the ratings. I know people want to see the upsets. They want to see all the stuff, and it's fun. But it's good when you have Kentucky in there and you have Duke in there and these teams that are recognizable, because in college, the team is bigger than the player versus the NBA can be the other way around. All right, in the NFL, Aaron Rodgers spent 6 hours all day on a March Madness Sunday, which is kind of surprising, on with the Pittsburgh Steelers visiting, but no contract is imminent. Is this going to happen? Is this a smart move? Why is this taking so long?
If it's 50-50 at this point, I'd say it's 50% he's going to be the Steelers' next quarterback, 50% he is gone from football. And I don't know what the right answer is. Maybe it's leaning a little more towards him being the next Steelers quarterback. What'd Cam Hayward have to say last week again?
He said, "We don't do darkness retreats here."
The captain of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
But he kind of walked it back the other day. So it makes it sound like he's coming to Pittsburgh.
He said what he said. And honestly, I do think Aaron Rodgers is petty enough to where he may take that into account as be like, no, screw this team. I'm not going there. Not if you're saying this about me.
It's interesting, though, because I didn't buy the Minnesota thing. Minnesota was linked to them. It was kind of out of left field. All of a sudden, there's a weird report.
There's been some other reporting that KOC and Aaron are buddies. But
it felt like that was Aaron Rodgers' agent to me when it happened, was leaking this, trying to drive up some interest, maybe the price for a Pittsburgh or New York. It seems like that might have been real because they took a meeting with him, and then it came out after that they're going with McCarthy, and now it feels like Pittsburgh's really the only spot for him. I don't really see New York being a realistic option. But even if he goes to Pittsburgh, I think they're going to be good. I think they're a team that's a playoff team, but I still don't see them above the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, or the Bengals. Really, still probably in the fifth spot. They're in the
All right.
AFC.
What's our last story?
All right, baseball season getting underway on Thursday. Very excited for that opening day. The opening day lines have come out. What are your realistic expectations for the Padres this season?
The hope is they find a way to get into the playoffs. Easier said than done. Look, last year, I think we all forget about how much had to go right for the Padres in the second half, and they got fortunate. All of it went right for them in the second half of the year. They were baseball's best team. All-star break on for the regular season last year, but that was not the case the first part of the season. Now, I think the culture in place is a good one. I actually think Mike Shildt has done a masterful job after taking over for Bob Melvin when this team, let's be honest, felt a little broken after that 2023 season. 2024 was a big old smile. Start to 3 games before the finish, right before the 24 straight scoreless innings. Lots of smiles around San Diego. We'll see what they can do here in 2025. I worry that the culture piece of Jurickson Profar not being here is really going to hurt the team. I worry that Ha-Seong Kim and his almost childlike love for the game of baseball not being here might hurt the San Diego Padres. But this is when you turn and look to Manny Machado, who you're paying a crap load of money to, and you look to Fernando Tatis Jr., who you signed to a statute contract early in his career to lead the San Diego Padres. I hope that they are enough to get into the postseason this year and see what happens from there.
I think not winning the NL West, finishing number 2 in the NL West.
That's basically winning the NL West.
Is basically because the Dodgers, they're going to, outside of a catastrophic injuries to multiple players, they're going to win the NL West. I think winning or finishing second above the Giants, above the Diamondbacks would be a real accomplishment. This team, I think, is going to go how the first month goes. And I know that sounds easy to say. Manny Machado, we know, has struggled out of gates in seasons past. It took him a couple months to get going, and then he's been on a tear down the stretch. This team cannot afford that because I think the Diamondbacks, as we've been talking about the last few weeks, have gotten a lot better. That's one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. The Giants have gotten better. The Rockies are going to finish 5th because they're not very good. But this team, to your point, Fletch, with the lack of spending in the offseason and letting certain players go, your Tanner Scotts, not being able to sign Roki Sasaki, you put a lot of pressure on Merrill, who, let's not forget, he's going to be a superstar, but he is a second-year player. We've seen regression from guys like Corbin Carroll, James Outman before second-year players. You're putting a lot of pressure on your stars. Tatis and Machado got to deliver. Bogarts has to be better than he was last year. This team can't fall behind in the division because I don't know that they have the depth to be making that up late in the season like they did last year.
We are up on YouTube, San Diego Sports 760, all one word, at San Diego Sports 760. Find us there. There's also a link to it on my Twitter account, at Fletch Sports, my ex account, that you can follow it to there. Paris checking in, says about time on the YouTube. Steven says Oceanside checking in. What's up, boys? What's going on, Steven? Thank you for being here. And Paris again, over under 82 wins. I'm going to lightly say over, because Vegas actually has them at 85.5.
Yeah, 82. I like the number. That's a good number.
82 feels more right to me than 85.5. It honestly does.
82 because I'm going to hit the a slight lean over on this because I think we're going to see last year where the Padres are going to need to be winning games at the end of the year.
Because they're going to be in a battle with maybe the Giants and or Arizona.
So it's going to create a competitive down the stretch where they're going to need to be winning games. I think 82 is fair. I think 83, 84 is realistic.
Let's all just cross our fingers and say, come what, October time? Is that the very end of the regular season, or is postseason already beginning?
Yeah, September, October, yeah.
Meaningful games are being played. That's the hope for these Padres.
Yes.
And that might be best case scenario, which kind of feels like a gross thing to say. But I think that's just where they are heading into this year. And we still don't know about you, Darvish. We still don't know a lot of things about this lineup.
Yeah, he's going to be out for a while now. That's why the crucial start. Pivetta and these guys have to be good early. There's no room for error.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, a deeper look into the NCAA tournament so far, what's happened, why people online are hating on it. I don't get that. We'll talk about it coming up next. San Diego Sports 760.
San Diego Sports Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
Good afternoon. On northbound 5 before Santa Fe, a crash clearing, making a little bit of slowing behind it. Westbound 94 near the 805, a stalled vehicle in the right lane. And a hit and run, Sigler left lane blocked, eastbound 78 at Jefferson. I'm Laura Kane.
Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at progressive.com. That's progressive.com.
Gwen Stefani, Doja Cat, and more. Wango Tango. May 10th. Tickets going fast. Buy them now. Access.com. AXS.com.
San Diego Sports 760 tournament coverage is brought to you by Valley View Casino and Hotel.
Hey, this is Rich from Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, and I know firsthand the crippling pain associated with lower body joint pain. I've torn knee ligaments. I had a back surgery that ended my NFL journey. Every day felt like a battle. Simple pleasures like just playing with the kids or walking down to the bay in Pacific Beach were overshadowed by constant searing pain. I spent years chasing remedies that simply didn't cut it, and then I discovered the Good Feet store. For over 6 years now, I wear their custom fit arch supports, and they've helped me experience a life with less pain. Imagine that. Now I'm able to work, play, and just simply be there for my family without pain. And with locations in San Marcos, Carmel Mountain, and Mission Valley, their help is never far away from you. Come in and try before you buy at the Good Feet store and embrace the comfort, energy, and performance that your life deserves. Pain relief could be on the horizon for you at the Good Feet store.
Imagine selling your home and getting paid before and after it sells. It's like getting paid twice. You can with Orchard. Listen to this. Orchard puts cash right in your pocket so you can buy your dream home. Then your Orchard experts prepare and market your old home, including repairs, showings, even price-boosting upgrades. And here's why Orchard's the best. When your home sells for more, which happens 9 times out of 10, you get that cash too. It's almost like getting paid twice. That's why Orchard is the smarter, faster, hassle-free way to sell your home. Let's review. Orchard can unlock cash from your old home to use on your new home. That's payday number 1. You buy your new place, and once you're in, Orchard sells your old home for top dollar. You get that money too. Boom! Payday number 2. Learn how much you could make with Orchard. Start with your free home valuation at orchard.com. That's orchard.com. Orchard.com.
Time for a March Madness update. In the NCAA men's bracket, 4 regional top seeds have survived and are headed to the Sweet 16, but only 3 of the 2 seeds are still alive. It's back to action on Thursday when 1 seeds Florida and Duke hit the floor. And on Friday, the 1 seeds Auburn and Houston try to survive and advance.
San Diego Sports 760, your home for March Madness. Catch all the action from the playing games to the Final Four. Sweet 16 action gets going this Thursday and Friday. It'll begin at 4 o'clock here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for March Madness in San Diego. Yeah, that Arizona Duke game, that's Thursday night, right? I think it's a 6:30 tip. You'll hear that one here. The coverage, by the way, has been awesome. Jason Horowitz kind of hosts it from a studio somewhere, and they're bouncing around sort of like Red Zone where they just tune into different games at different times. It's been a lot of fun to listen to here on San Diego Sports 760. So if you have been, we appreciate it. Also, guess what? We're live on YouTube.
We're on YouTube.
You can find us. It's not quite as easy as just typing in San Diego Sports 760 to the YouTube page. But if you go to my X account at Fletch Sports, if you go to the station's X account, you can find a link to it and then subscribe pretty easily. And of course, as we're saying all that, my stream just went down on my computer.
Alexander's checking in. Paris checking in. Steven, we'd love to hear from you on there. So
what's up, Alexander? Alexander, I believe, is the other 949.
Yes. Alexander was giving us picks last week.
The other 949.
The other 949.
Jeremy, if you don't want to be known as the other 949, we should have a battle of the 949s. Thank you for being here. We do really appreciate it. Again, YouTube is up, live, active. So let's party. You can join us every single day. Paris actually saying, nice to put a face to Sammy. I know. I'm sorry, Paris. It is hideous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's disgusting. Paris, I appreciate it.
He's a handsome guy. He's got great hair. Look at Sammy. Crazy weekend in life. And honestly, we haven't been on the sports station since Thursday. I've been working over on 101.5 KGB in the mornings, Big Rich, TD, and Fletch. So maybe we've seen more of me than we have of Sammy, but this is a big week. Here's what we got. My anniversary is tomorrow, my wedding anniversary.
Okay.
My birthday is on Thursday.
Yes. By the way, so we're not on Thursday. John and Jim are doing a pregame of opening day, but we have some surprises lined up for your birthday.
Interesting. Well, Thursday is my birthday. Thursday is also opening day for the Padres. This weekend, my wife and I are heading up to Big Bear. I got to figure out if the Airbnb that we have has television, because I'm going to need to watch the Sweet 16.
I thought you were going to Palm Springs.
We changed plans. Plans a lot, but she found a better deal up in Big Bear, so that's my birthday present.
Dude, you're going to be skiing. You're not going to be watching games.
No, we are not skiing. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. After the acorn, yeah.
I don't need to break another leg, dude. No shot. We are going to be walking around Big Bear with our dog for a couple of days, and that's about enough excitement that we need. But fun couple of weeks here coming up, and in the sports world, it's no different. However, people online continue to insist that this is like the worst March Madness ever. I don't get the narrative here. Stephen A. Smith, if no Cinderella becomes a trend, it'll be the death of college basketball. I disagree.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. Cinderellas are fun. They are. Davidson of the Steph Curry days was a lot of fun. Hell, a lot of people consider, I don't necessarily, but a lot of people consider the run San Diego State made to a championship game a few years ago. Yeah, I just think that degrades it a little bit almost. It's not like they came out of nowhere. They had 2 years earlier than that, where they would have been potentially the 1 seed.
No, it's not about the program. I think it's just that the expectations for the team heading in the tournament, it qualifies as a Cinderella run.
For sure. Okay, so yeah, let's run with that. And look, those are really fun stories. The sister jeans of it all is fun.
Loyola Chicago.
Yeah.
St. Peter's, it's fun.
It's good. And it is great for college basketball. However, don't we all think that this Sweet 16 is potentially gearing up to be one of the best ones like ever?
Exactly. Fletch, you and I were talking about this before the show. People fall in love with the upsets, and I get it. It's fun. It's great seeing when a 16 finally beat a 1 UMBC. It was electric. It was kind of a where were you when it happened moment. When St. Peter's were on the run, it's great. Two angles of this. Number one, of betting. Some people, brackets are busted at this point, and they want to win money gambling. So when you take a major underdog advancing, at some point, usually the game, they turn back into their old selves. Usually in the Sweet 16, they've been off for a week. They don't have it there. Big spreads cause big or bad games with major blowouts. Blue Bloods, we see this in the NBA. When the Lakers are good, when the Bulls are good, when the Knicks are good, the Celtics are good, and the Warriors, better ratings. When Kentucky's in it, which they are, Michigan State's in it, Duke, Florida, these are recognizable names to people. And yes, you almost kind of create hate watching. Like, all respect to St. Peter's, but St. Peter's fan base is what, a couple thousand people, or some alumni. Everyone knows someone who is a Duke fan. Everyone knows someone who's a Florida fan. So you may be hate watching Duke and rooting for them to lose. I think it's fun when you have the Blue Bloods in 70470 or on YouTube. Start your message with team. Let us know what you think. But I think it's fun that the Blue Bloods are in it still.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Now, Cinderellas, I love a Cinderella. I really do. But there's this whole narrative going around that NIL has killed college basketball, and I really disagree with that. Look, take a mid-major program. Let's go with San Diego State for now, because that's the one we know the best. 5 years ago now, 2020 team, essentially all transfers. This was right before NIL, and credit to San Diego State for taking advantage of transfer portal before the transfer portal became everything in college basketball. Malachi Flynn, KJ Fagan, Yanni Wetzel, potentially the best Aztec team ever, all came through the transfer portal. Think about what we had this year, right? Nick Boyd coming over. It sounds like Nick Boyd may be gone, but that's kind of the risk you run. But Nick Boyd coming over was probably the most consistent, best San Diego State player the entire season. You can take advantage of it. If the number one or the number 2 point guard at a Duke, at a North Carolina, is going through the entire program and realizing I'm never going to get playing time here, that person is going to enter the portal. Right. Could end up being an absolute home run for a mid-major program. I think NIL actually benefits the mid-majors. The one negative downside to it, which does suck, and this sucks in a big way, you're not going to see any more 4th and 5th year seniors who stayed with one school their entire career unless it's with one of the big blue bloods. And that part, that blows, but it's time to adjust.
Alexander said a Cinderella is cool, but watching good teams and games that matter is better. I totally agree.
The Cinderella is cool until they get beat by 40 against a 2 seed.
And you're looking at, in the eastern side, there's a 1 and a 2 seed. In the south side, there's a 1 and a 2, and then on the west, it's a 1 and a 12 playing. It's like the 1 has an easy path, and yes, if they can get there, if they can fully get there, it's great. Fletch, I don't know what you think about this, but college football and college basketball kind of have an inverse thing, in my opinion. The NIL in college basketball helps the blue bloods because any team, if you're star point guard at Delaware, you're not staying there. You're going to a Kansas, a North Carolina, a Duke, hell, even a San Diego State, something like that.
I'd say it feeds both ways, though, because then that person who's coming over from Delaware is kicking somebody off.
But college football, it's different. College football, because the rosters are so big, you have backup quarterbacks at Ohio State and Texas that are 5-star kids that were going there to try to compete for the job. They're like, yeah, I'm not playing at Texas, but I'm gonna go to Ole Miss and I'm gonna be the star quarterback. You saw it with Joe Burrow. He left Ohio State, went to LSU. So in college basketball, in college football, I think it helps the smaller schools. In college basketball, I think it hurts the smaller schools, but I don't really have a problem with it. I like when the blue bloods are in it.
We also need a bigger sample size in a couple of years. There's also going to be regulations that go into effect at some point. Right now, it's still the wild, wild west. So there's certain programs who can take advantage of it big time. There's certain programs who can't. And here's the one spot where this March Madness tournament kind of hit me in the feels. It's watching Lamont Butler being the entire offense for Kentucky. Yesterday, I'm sitting on the couch. Lamont opens up the game by hitting a 3, and I think the next 4 plays he was either assisting on or scoring a point for Kentucky. That part sucks because you look at Lamont's game, and I look at San Diego State, and if there was one big missing piece on the team this year, it was a guard who could consistently score and consistently
100%.
Distribute.
My problem with the NIL, I know we're about to go to break, but and I'm not going to get on here, and I know people are frustrated with Nick Boyd for leaving San Diego State. He's going to go get his money.
No, good for him, dude.
It's good for him.
It's not necessarily he's 100% leaving. He's entering the transfer portal.
Right. And people are a little hypocritical in my opinion, because if you were being offered that money, you would go too. But as fans, I get it. Everyone wants him to stay as an Aztec. But I mean, I wish the transfer portal opened after the season. Nick Saban said this: when Ohio State Notre Dame in the championship ended, the next day it should open. You should not be able to transfer hell, today there's a player on Michigan who's in the transfer portal, but he's playing and they're playing Auburn next week.
It's the same problem with college football bowl games. You have teams who were decimated by the transfer portal before the bowl game even happens. It's ridiculous. All right, quick break. When we come back, the Padres roster is set. Or is that official? Are we done?
I think we're done.
I think so. Kevin Acey has a tweet of a couple.
It's been live reporting the last 24 hours.
Right, but the last bench spot I think is taken up. We will react to the names and the players who are on the Padres team for 2025 right after this. I mentioned baseball. Well, folks, baseball is back. We are 4 days away from everybody having played at least one game in the world of Major League Baseball. You're going to want the Prize Picks app on your phone in time for that. Yes, right now it's a lot of fun with college basketball, but wait till you got Padres going every single day. You want Prize Picks with you by your side throughout the entire season. And leading up to Thursday, you could create some season-long entries on Prize Picks. Fernando Tatis Jr., more or less than 2.5 multi-home run games. I've been going back and forth on this one a lot. I'm thinking I'm going to lock in the more than, though. Download the Prize Picks app, see what you can do, and turn your hot sports takes into real hot cash. Prize Picks is the best place to play daily fantasy sports here in these United States. I firmly believe that. I have tried all the other ones. Prize Picks is my favorite. And right now, if you use promo code FLETCH, FLETCH, you're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. So everybody watching us, everybody listening to us, as long as you're not driving, stop what you're doing, download the Prize Picks app, get that $50 bonus, start crafting some entries, get in your lab, start firing on all your favorite sports. Download the free Prize Picks app today. Use promo code FLETCH, get $50. Start making lineups. In fact, Sammy's going to give you a free one coming up in about 15 minutes. Download Prize Picks, run your game all around the bases all season long on Prize Picks.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios. The San Diego's Padres opening day roster per Kevin Acee will feature Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, Martin Maldonado, Gavin Sheets, and Brandon Lockridge. They were all questionable to make the team. Thursday, opening day for the Padres. They will be hosting the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are currently minus 130 on the money line. Chris Sale will be going for Atlanta, while Michael King will get the stripe for the Pods. Lakers are in Orlando tonight to start a 4-game road trip. They're currently favored by 3.5. Tip will be at 4 o'clock. The Lakers coming off a blowout loss against the Chicago Bulls. They gave up 146 points. Everyone should be a go, but Rui Hachimura is questionable. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscriptions ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. We'll be here till 2. John and Jim will take over then. We are live on YouTube today. If you want to find the link on my Twitter account, on the station Twitter account, I'm at Fletch Sports. You can find me there. I have a link to the YouTube stream. We would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube. That is a station-wide YouTube. So John and Jim will be there. We're going to be there every single day, plus some special other things.
We've had a bunch of people subscribing already, and honestly, John and Jim haven't been pulling their weight.
John and Jim haven't even started their show yet. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying right now we're ahead. So I want that narrative to be out there so everyone knows.
Okay. Sure. From Sammy Long, Jim Russell, I know you're listening.
Jim Russell, you look at him right out there. Look at him hard at work.
Yeah, he's a good man. He really is. All right, so you mentioned it in your update, Sammy, but the opening day roster appears to be set for the San Diego Padres. We'll see if things change, but Kevin Acee writing as early as about 2 hours ago that Brandon Lockridge has earned his way on to his first opening day roster. And I believe that's the last bench spot they have. So go through those names one more time, Sammy. The ones who are kind of on the cut line.
Jose Iglesias made it. Martin Maldonado, who our very own Kevin Acee said was
Martin
Maldonado, excuse me. Gavin Sheets, Brandon Lockridge, and Yuli Gurriel.
Okay.
All made the team. They were kind of the question marks up in the air. Gavin Sheets completely worked his way on the roster.
Talking about Gavin Holy Sheets?
We're still going with that.
Talking about Gavin Microsoft Excel spreadsheets? You're talking about Gavin between the sheets?
That one's better.
You're talking about, or has Gavin lost a little bit of weight? Because he sure is looking like a fitted sheet.
No, never say that one.
Come on.
Let's stop.
No, there are so many more. You have no idea. Big Rich, TD, and Fletch, we have a text chain with Kevin Acee, the four of us. And so we've just been, every time we think of a new one, it's going on that text
I'm sure
chain.
Kevin Acee loves that.
No, he never responds. Never responds.
Got you guys muted.
No, maybe, but I don't know. We send him so many texts just on a random Tuesday. Whenever we have ideas about what he should write next, he like very rarely takes our advice. But I like Gavin fitted sheets. You don't?
You had to explain it. It was too long.
You're right.
Nickname's got to be snappy. You know, it's got to be there.
Man, I can't even read Rich's because they all have profanity in them. But it's pretty good, man. The Travis Dale, Rich Ornberger, Ben Fletcher, Kevin Acee group text is a fun one. Gavin Sheets happens. Gavin Sheets show.
Okay.
Gavin.
Well, he made the roster.
Yeah, he's on there, and he
he had 5 home runs in 6 days or 6 home runs in 5 games.
I think
it was 6 home runs in 5 games.
I thought it was 5 and 4. Because he had 2 of them in one game, but it was 4 straight days with a homer for Gavin
If you're
Sheets,
looking at a guy like Gavin Sheets, we've been talking about this all offseason. The lack of spending from the ownership, you're going to need a guy like Gavin Sheets to pop. And maybe, hopefully, the Padres found something in him. Clearly has been going crazy in spring training, but again, that is spring training. But I'm glad they took a flyer on him instead of just veteran glove. Sheets. Look, I hope he gets some run early in the season.
You got to be undeniable in spring training if you're on that cut line, and Gavin Sheets was undeniable.
Right. So, I hope they play him early. Sometimes you see this happen in the NBA and MLB. Guys are raking it in spring training or getting buckets all through the G League or whatever, and then they sit on the bench for a month or two. Like, no, keep this momentum going. Give them a shot because honestly, there's a lot of openings in the rotation down the not the rotation, but down the chart.
Gavin 2 sheets in the wind.
Holy.
That one was from Steven, our buddy on YouTube.
Oh, Steven said that one?
Yeah. You don't need to roll your eyes at me.
Well, if Steven said it, we've heard enough nicknames out of you.
You're just mad Sammy Long doesn't have any cool nicknames with it.
Well,
other than Schlong.
Well, everyone calls me Schlong. My X handle is Sklong. SKLONG.
Yeah, you should really change it. It should be Schlong. Schlong 13. Gavin Raining Sheets. I don't really know that one, but that one was from Paris.
Raining Sheets. I like that.
Okay. There's more to get there with him. Now, I think that the Padres bench, great. The Padres starting lineup, great. I do worry about the rotation a little bit, especially if Yu Darvish is going to miss some time to start the year. We'll see how long that is. I mean, at 38, is he 38 years old? I believe that's right.
Yeah.
38 years old, elbow inflammation 2 weeks before a season starts. You can't spin that any way to make me feel good about it. You can't spin that any way and make me feel like Yu Darvish is going to be ready by the 5th spot in the rotation. I highly doubt it. Like, could we be going a month without Yu Darvish? That feels more likely to me. So if you're the San Diego Padres, what are you going to do to make up for it? We know that there was a huge competition for the 5th spot in the rotation, and we know that that has now been bumped up to a huge competition for the 4th and 5th spots in the rotation. So you're going to need production like Sammy was talking about from a Gavin Sheets, somebody you're not paying a whole lot to come up and have big league production. Well, you're going to need that out of your 4th and 5th pitchers as well heading into this season. And that's not a great spot to be in.
Well, Pivetta you're paying is going to slide into the 3.
Yes.
And then you're going to need to rely on Kolik's probably the safest option after that.
That seems to be the guy who Kevin's been talking about the most.
I'm assuming he gets the 4 because the 5 is definitely now with the Darvish injury a wild card. You're going with whoever has the hot hand. Waldron for a couple months was unbelievable. Was honestly the Padres' best pitcher, and then
first half of the year, and then he completely fell apart in the second.
I think Vasquez deserves a look. Vasquez has been nice. I bet Waldron and him kind of share time. Kyle Hart, I bet is starting out in the pen. That's what I would see. Try to get some long relief if
dude was the Cy Young of the KBO last year, Sammy.
Yeah, and he had a 15.55 ERA when he was in the majors.
Dude was the Cy Young of the KBO last year, Sammy.
I hope he's money. I hope he's fantastic, but Waldron and Vasquez are much more reliable than him. Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
Point.
So what do we know for sure? We know that Michael King is going to get opening day coming up on Thursday. We know Dylan Cease is going to be right after that. Nick Pivetta is going to be right after that. 4 and 5. We'll see. I think Kolik probably has the inside track at one of those spots because he's the one who's been talked about the most. But yeah, I could see a huge combination of Randy Vasquez, Johnny Brito, Kyle Hart, and we don't really know what that's going to look like. And that's not a great spot for the Padres to be in, especially when you consider what we were kind of saying earlier today. It feels like it needs to be off to a good start this year for the Padres. And they need to stack up some wins early.
And the Padres had to go. People forget at the end of the season last year, they had to go on a tear.
They went on one.
They went on one, which is fantastic. But at the same time, hopefully you're not digging that much of a hole, because it feels like we've been, again, saying this for months. The division got better. So you used to look at the Rockies, even the Rockies are a tough team because when you go play them in Colorado, it's a home run friendly ballpark. Comebacks happen all the time. Every division game is going to be ruthless this year. Giants, Dodgers, Diamondbacks. It's going to be a fun race. But what are you looking at over there?
I just got kind of a crazy email. I don't know if I can share that on air. It's about the Padres.
Really?
Yeah.
You're gonna tease all our listeners like that?
I don't think I could say that one.
Why don't we just break news on the Fletch Zone?
No,
who cares?
I don't think I can do that one. Sorry, Sammy.
No, don't apologize to me. Apologize to our loyal listeners who listen every day.
I don't think I can read that one on the air. It does have to do with the Padres, though. But it's not anything crazy about roster construction or anything. It's just
ownership.
Something that's happening.
Ownership.
Something that's happening. I don't know. I don't think I can talk about it.
All right.
Sorry, that completely derailed me, but that is big news.
Yeah, you just okay. All right, you just gonna
look. I'm thinking that might be something everyone else finds about next week. I'm thinking that's just one of those things.
Oh, look at Ben Fletcher trying to flex on everyone that he gets info before everyone else.
I'm not trying to do that. I did just get an
well,
email.
That's what everyone's feeling right now in the chat.
I didn't want to do it. You asked me what was going on. I didn't have a good enough lie on.
I thought something bad happened with your face. I was like, what's going on?
I'm gonna say that's a very good thing.
Okay.
But again, it's not going to impact anything with the Padres this year, I don't think. But
so it doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Forget I said anything. Look, Sammy asked me what was going on. I didn't have a lie at the top of my head, so I said what actually happened, which is I did just get an email about the Padres.
Well, I think realistic expectations, back to that earlier, second in the division. No one's catching the Dodgers. Don't try to catch the Dodgers.
Dude, that might be best case scenario.
That's best case scenario. Right now, if I was betting my money, I would have the Diamondbacks in second, Padres third. I think they're better than the Giants. I think they're better than the Rockies. I think the Diamondbacks and the Padres have better hitting than the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have better pitching, especially with the Darvish injury and the Musgrove injury. It's a shame because the Padres bullpen is still, you probably put the Dodgers at 1, and then you look at maybe Cleveland. The Padres are right there. They have one of the best bullpens all in baseball, even with losing Tanner Scott. I wouldn't be surprised if Show goes some bullpen games early. Like the Dodgers had to do it a lot last year due to all the injuries to Glasnow and Gonsolin left and right. But I think the Padres are going to need to take advantage of that.
All right, I haven't opened up the text line yet today, so I'll do that right now. 619 says NIL is not killing the NCAA. The transfer portal is. Yeah, you could have a conversation about that. 760 Stephen Kolek is getting lit up today, it looks like. Well, maybe we cross him out of that 4 line. 858 Farrell Merrill never caught on. Fletch needs to retire his nickname game.
Yes.
I did not come up with Farrell Merrill, but it absolutely did catch
You
on.
claim that you came up with
Travis Dale came up with Farrell Merrill. I'd never once have said I came
you're
up with Farrell
deflecting blame.
No, I swear to God, Travis Dale came up with it.
619 says, let's hear it, Puddles.
I wish I would have come up with Farrell Merrill, but it did catch on. Kevin Acey wrote it in one of his articles. Jackson was actually, his mom was asked if she liked the nickname Farrell Merrill. She didn't, which is a bummer. It's a good nickname.
Yeah, well,
so it caught on. Got all the way to
the
Mrs.
thing is,
Merrill.
though, nicknames have to just happen. They can't be forced. The best nicknames are like Showtime. Like you talking about Magic, like Magic Johnson. Like you have nicknames that come when fighters are like, here's my nickname, it never works. Like
760. Hey guys, nothing worse than someone saying, "Hey, I've got a secret," than saying, "Oh, I can't tell you." Thanks, Fletch. Look, I didn't even I got an email. I made a facial expression. Sammy asked me what was going on, and then I shouldn't have done that.
You could have said, you could have been like, "Oh, my lunch order's messed up. I'm pissed off."
I should have. I just couldn't come up with a lie quick enough. I am sorry about that. I apologize.
We kind of accept your apology.
Because you know what's coming up next?
Oh,
Sammy's about to make us all some money. That's no secret. Sammy is pretty good at this, I'd say.
I'm damn good at this. I'm up a lot of money over the weekend of gambling.
You're up in March, which is all that matters. So let's get to it. Long shots coming up next on San Diego Sports 760. Wednesday, 6 o'clock, right here on San Diego Sports 760. It's SDFC Midweek Live. Here from the head coach, Mikey Vadas, as well as interviews with players and coaches. Find out the latest club and MLS information, hosted by Adrian Garcia Marquez and Darren Smith. SDFC Midweek Live every Wednesday, 6 o'clock, right here on your home for SDFC on San Diego Sports 760. Rough loss for the boys this weekend. Their first loss, they were playing against Austin, which I believe is in Texas, and they lost 2-1. Luca De La Torre did score.
They tied it 1-1, but they gave it up at the end.
Luca De La Torre, the San Diegan, scored his first goal. But yeah, it was the first loss of the year. No longer unbeaten SDFC, which is a bummer. Right now is when we do
something. Real quick, can I say something?
Please do.
So last segment, if you were listening, Fletch, and no, I'm not going to out you. PT made a big thing about how he got.
I was trying to make a tiny thing about it.
Some email that was insider information that he got. Let me tell you.
I said none of that. I made a face. You said what just happened.
619. I'm explaining this to you right now. There is nothing here.
There's nothing.
He told me what it is. It is the most, like, I would be mad if he shared that.
I said that on the air. I said there's nothing here. Nothing. It's so little important.
Yeah, and you made it out to be like
it's just something I can't talk about. Whatever. There's nothing there, I promise. It's not even worth it. I told Sammy it's lame.
Yeah, it's super lame. Like it's like it's like embarrassing that you're bragging about it.
I'm not bragging about it. I'm actively not. Let's get to long shots.
Let's see. Underdogs? Nah, that's old. Those with a less than good chance of winning? Too wordy. Wait. Got it. It's time for Sammy's long shots.
Where are we starting?
So Ty, loyal listener, sent me some picks this morning that I really liked. I'm actually including them in my lineup today. So we have a 3-pick parlay. We're going all NBA because we have no college basketball tonight. But Emmanuel quickly, Toronto at Washington happening at 4:00 today. 9.5 rebounds and assists. We're going more than. This is a matchup of two teams that are not very good. Toronto is better. Washington, to their credit, has been playing better as of recently. They made a few changes at the deadline, brought in Chris Middleton, got rid of Kyle Kuzma. But this is a game that they're not elite talent. So I think that a 9.5 rebounds and assists, they're not going to be accounting for him. They're going to hit the over on that.
Emmanuel spelled with an I, by the way.
Yes, with an I. Dante DiVincenzo, Minnesota at Indiana tonight. Very fun matchup. This is a fun matchup in the Western versus Eastern Conference. Minnesota has been on a tear recently, been playing really good basketball, just short of the Rockets, who did fall last night to the Nuggets. But Indiana is a fun team. They're a team that doesn't play a lot of defense, but in terms of scoring, they average some of the most in the entire league. They're excellent in that. They put a lot of shots up. Halliburton and their guards there. We're going Dante DiVincenzo, more than 12.5 points. Anthony Edwards is going to need someone to shoot alongside of him. That's been a problem recently for Minnesota. That's just Anthony Edwards showing up when DiVincenzo's hitting shots and allows them to kind of give Anthony Edwards some space. It's a big day for him. So 12.5 points, more than Dante DiVincenzo. This is another pick by Ty that I really like. Tyrese Halliburton, 9.5 assists in the same game. We're going over on that one. 9.5. Halliburton, I think because there's such a good defensive team in the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're not going to let him get his, I believe his over-under for points is like 27, but I think he's going to affect the game. Usually in matchups against really good teams, Halliburton kind of becomes more of a point guard, more of a distributor. So I think 9.5 assists there, more than. And then the final pick, Ty also gave me this one. Ty gave some money picks today. I really like this. 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. First half, Luka Doncic, more than. Lakers coming off an absolute disaster class on Saturday against the Bulls. They gave up 146 points. It was an embarrassing game. The Lakers showed very little interest in playing any defense at all, but Luka did have 34. The Magic beat the Lakers earlier this year, 119-118 on a Franz Wagner game-winning 3. I think the Lakers get a little get back tonight, and Luka comes out and has a big game.
Wait, what was this one?
22.5 first half points, rebounds, and assists, more than for Luka Doncic. So let me go over the lineup one more time.
That one's tough to find.
Well, you got to do a little work if you want to make some money. They don't just make it easy for you. You always bet the popular picks. Ty and I go in here and find the winners. Emmanuel quickly, 9.5 rebounds and assists, more than. Dante DiVincenzo, 12.5 points, more than. Tyrese Halliburton, more than 9.5 assists. And then Luka Doncic, 22.5 points, rebounds, and assists. First half total, more than. Fletch, you're vetoing one. Which one is it?
Tyrese Halliburton.
Really?
Yeah, because he's done it in every single one of the last 6.
Okay, that's fair. I like that.
It's
Okay.
like you're not going to pick the same number on roulette because it's hit 4 times in a row. You know what I mean?
Okay. We're going to come back. That was one of Ty's picks. So Ty, we got quickly in here and we got Luca.
But don't worry, I'm leaving it in.
Okay. We went over it. I like this parlay. I'm excited for Friday. We can mix in some college basketball as well.
All right, we got a minute and a half here. Long shots is done. Can we talk about Severance?
Well, we can't spoil it for anyone.
No, I know. No spoilers, but all I've wanted to talk about all day is Severance because I haven't seen Sammy since Thursday, and we have both been crazy into the show, and I know a lot of our listeners have been as well. Is it outrageous to say that was like the best episode of television maybe ever?
It was really good.
It was really freaking good, man. The way they tied everything up for this second season, I thought was an absolute masterclass, leading you all the way up to a show that hasn't been violent at all. And then all of a sudden it's hyper violent for about 10 minutes. I thought it was such a great break in tone of the entire rest of the series. It was damn near perfect.
I know some people were complaining they wanted some more answers, but
I think we got a lot.
There's a lot that we didn't know that
well, like I have another season.
Exactly. That's why they left it open. And I liked it. It was good. Especially if you watch the post-credit thing that kind of the director walks you through without giving anything away, kind of how they did the ending. And it even means more than when you just watch it live. But like in the moment, I was like, I'm bummed it's done. But then after I went back and I'm like, I really liked how they did that.
I loved pretty much everything about it. I mean, the way that it ends with the awkward triangle, with everything going on, kind of setting you up for an absolute battle in season 3. I just hope we don't have to wait 3 years for season 3.
He said he confirmed on Kelsey's podcast is not.
Thank God. Because
they have an announcement soon about it.
Good. I would like
I can tell you what messed me up this morning is I watched The White Lotus last night, the new episode.
I'll be watching that in about an hour.
And for those of you on the text line that have seen this episode, I didn't really know what to say for like an hour. I mean, everything that's in that show could go wrong. Every member of the cast is like a horrible person. And so not the cast, the on the show. I mean, it is ridiculous. It kind of messed me up this morning. I woke up, I was like, I felt frazzled.
It's been an uncomfortable season. Like they took kind of the side stories of the first couple seasons of The White Lotus, which made you pretty uncomfortable. And that's now the main story in season 3. At least from what I like, they're leading with the uncomfortableness, not so much the drama.
I think the problem season 2, you had a lot of the characters were likable. Like some of them were not, and so they made
Plaza very likable.
Very likable. This season, they made like 90% of the cast unlikable of the characters, and it's kind of hard to like root for them because like they all are so messed in the head in some way.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, I'll watch that later today. I don't if you watched the most recent to last episode where it left us off with the weirdness happening on the boat. It doesn't have me.
It picks right up there.
It doesn't have me that excited to watch the new episode. I'll be completely honest. Like I have an older brother. I don't need to think about stuff like that. I really don't. It's just uncomfortable and weird. And my brother's like 5 years older than me, which is the difference.
To get weirded out.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know if I need to watch it, but I will. It's San Diego Sports 760. We got a whole nother hour of this. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. If you're just trying us out for the first time, we appreciate you being here. We are up and live on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760, all one word if you type it in, or you can go to my Twitter account at Fletch Sports. I have the link there. At SD Sports 760 on Twitter also has the link there. Go check us out. Subscribe to the new YouTube page. Sammy and I will be on it every day. John and Jim will be on it every day. Plus a lot of San Diego Sports 760 exclusives after hours will be up on there most days. San Diego Sports 760. Take a quick break. We'll be back with hour number 2 coming up next.
This report is sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. It matters who does your taxes. Per Kevin Acey, San Diego Union Tribune, the San Diego Padres opening day roster will feature Yuli Gurriel, Jose Iglesias, Martin Maldonado, Gavin Sheets, and Brandon Lockridge to round out the bench. The Lakers are in Orlando tonight and start a 4-game road trip. They're currently favored by 3.5. Tip will be at 4 o'clock. The Lakers coming off a loss in Chicago where they gave up 146 points. It's a crucial stretch for them to try and get the number 2 seed in the West. At Jackson Hewitt, expert tax prep is now $149 or less, but only for a limited time. Hurry, book your appointment at jacksonhewitt.com today. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/49-149.
Check the clock.
What time is it?
It's high noon.
I'll make you famous.
A little cleanup from those brackets.
The number 10 seed, Arkansas is moving on. Calipari Despotino. Let the March Madness begin.
Wild weekend in the tournament. A tough Saturday in the Lone Star State for STFC. Plus the countdown to opening day at Petco continues. Now it's time to enter the Fletch Zone.
San Diego Sports 760. It's hour number 2 here on the Fletch Zone. Thank you for being here. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. We are here till 2 o'clock today. John and Jim will be up right after that. All right, as we kind of proceed on through hour number 2, we'll get another big 3 in here in just a second. We'll have more thoughts on the March Madness tournament coming up in a bit, but this kind of surprised me a little bit. Jeff Grammer, who covers college basketball, had a sit-down interview with Richard Pitino, the head coach of New Mexico, after the game, where New Mexico lost to, who did they just lose to? I was watching that game yesterday. New Mexico lost to
Michigan State.
Michigan State. That's right. It was a 2 seed. Close game. Nelly Joseph Jr. goes down on foul trouble in the second half, and that really ended it. But Jeff Grammer reporting that he asked Pitino afterwards if there's a timetable to make a decision on his future. And I think a lot of us thought Pitino was gone. As soon as this season was over, he'd get a Power 5 offer. He said there's no timetable because there's no decision, that he's going to be back next year with New Mexico.
Wow.
Surprising.
Yeah.
I thought for sure he was gone.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, maybe they're, building something down there in New Mexico, but they had that game for a while. It just felt like Michigan State, watching that entire game, it felt like Michigan State was calm. And when they kind of got that, 10, 12-point lead at one point, and New Mexico kind of bum rushed them, Michigan State just felt like this was kind of business as usual, and New Mexico seemed to get nervous when that happened.
Yeah, and the fouls in the second half for Nelly Jr. Joseph, I mean, they were dumb fouls. A couple of them, his 3rd and 4th, or his 4th and 5th. Like, they were a little ticky-tacky, but he almost put the refs in a situation where they had to call him, and he was the only real offensive weapon that was working. Donovan Dent had a rare night where he actually kind of struggled from the field. So weird game for New Mexico, who kept it close, but ends up falling. By the way, no Mountain West team left alive in the NCAA. There's no Mountain West team that's going to be heading into the Sweet 16, which is unfortunate, but that is the world we live in. Should be a great bracket the rest of the way anyways. All right, let's get it. Big 3, hour number 2. Sammy Long, hit that button.
Your lunch break is here. Ready to go back to the office and knock the socks off your friends? Coworkers? It's time for the top stories of the day. The Big 3.
Before we get there, Sammy, our buddy Steven saying, I have a final nickname for Gavin Sheets. Gavin apparently is Welsh for the Battle Hawk.
Wow.
So Gavin the Battle Hawk Sheets. I don't hate that.
I like that. See, there's a little undertone meeting there. I like that.
Yeah. All
Shout
right.
out to Steven.
What's our first story for Big 3, hour 2?
First one, sticking with March Madness. So we're down to 16. What is your favorite futures bet to win the national title right now?
Really like Michigan State at 20-1. I think Michigan State, like you said, played calm when chaos was coming against New Mexico. I like Michigan State 20-1. I feel like those are good odds. I also really like BYU at 66-1. BYU, say what you will, they've been playing their best basketball as of the last 3 weeks of the regular season. They've been playing pretty well so far through the tournament. 66-1 just is a great number, I feel like, for BYU.
You know how I feel about Arizona. I think that's a really lethal team that I actually think is going to beat Duke. They're going off at plus 3,900, so 39-1. And Tennessee, I know they are a number 2 seed, but they kind of felt like Tennessee got disrespected on the number 2 line. It was kind of thought of that they play some of the best defense in the country, but outside of Kai Ziegler, there's not a lot of talent elsewhere just in terms of scoring. And we saw Tennessee kind of get down for a minute in that UCLA game and really fight their way back and impose their will. It feels like they kind of got some scores and they're figuring it out in the tournament. I think Tennessee there at plus 1,600, 1,601, it would be a good bet.
If you want to be smart, I mean, Auburn at plus 550, that feels pretty good. That's come down quite a bit since 3 weeks ago.
Right. So now you can still get the heavy favorites.
Right.
So if you think Duke's going to win, if you think Auburn's going to win, you can take that. But if you really want to cash in, buy yourself a new home. Go down the list.
A new home.
That's what we do on long shots. We buy homes. All right. Number 2, heading to the NBA. The West race between the 2 and the 5 seed is absolutely lethal. Houston is currently sitting in the 2 spot. Denver is 1 game back of them. The Lakers are 2 games back of Houston, and Memphis are 2.5 back of Houston. Who do we think has the inside track to get that number 2 seed, or who needs it the most?
I mean, I think those are 2 different answers, aren't they? But it feels like Denver or the Lakers probably needs it more, but I think that's because the national narrative behind those 2 teams are that we almost want to see one of those 2 teams in the Western Conference Finals, because you want to see LeBron and Luka in the Western Conference Finals. Yeah. You want to see Nikola Jokic in the Western Conference Finals. Inside track, though, you feel like it probably goes to Houston, doesn't it?
Houston's playing great ball. 1-9 straight. They did lose to Denver last night, though, so Denver got them. Denver's weird because they don't play any defense. Like at all, none. But you still put Jokic and Murray on the floor. They're a lethal combo. Houston feels a little too young, even though, like, if I'm Golden State the 6 spot or Minnesota at the 7, and I get to pick a team to play over Denver, the Lakers, Memphis, I want Houston because Houston feels young. Amen Thompson's a great player. Dylan Brooks kind of resurged his career there. Fred VanVleet, but I don't know that that's really a team that's going to go far in the Western Conference. Memphis has been there before. John Morant, that team's really good. The Lakers and Denver, though, are definitely the scariest outside of Oklahoma City. But I think right now you can make an argument to go to the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City, the Lakers, Denver, Golden State, Minnesota. I mean, there are a lot of teams in here that you might be able to get some value at the bottom of the bracket here in the NBA playoffs.
The West is crazy interesting. The East feels like it's already decided, but the West, which good for them, it's going to come down to the wire. And by the way, we're like 2.5 weeks away from the NBA regular season being done. I think April 13th is the final day of games.
That's the play-in tournament, yeah, the 14th, 15th.
You're right. That's when. No, yeah. April 13th, all 30 teams will play, and then April 14th, rosters have to be set for the playoffs. 15th through the 18th is the play-in tournament.
Yeah, so super. I think it's going to be a fun playoffs. Yeah, the Eastern Conference feels a little bit more like Boston and the Cavs, with maybe the Knicks as an outside shot if there's some injury help, but probably not. All right, number 3. This just came down on Aaron Donald's podcast, Join the Lobby podcast an hour ago. Puka Nacua wants to retire at 30 years old. He's a 24-year-old receiver. How are the Rams feeling about the fact that their star receiver is going to retire after 6 years?
Probably a little more upset that they just let Cooper Kupp walk.
That's what
I mean.
And now, if I'm a Rams fan, I'm going, you just killed all of his trade value.
For sure.
Because if you knew that internally, you would have waited a year or 2, shipped him out, got a ton of draft picks or something like that. Knowing that he's out at 30, I mean, that's 6 years left. That's basically one deal. He has one deal left in him.
Now, it's not that crazy for a wide receiver. I feel like that's around retirement age for a lot of them anyways. It's not as physical a position as running back, but around 30 is where you start to see the drop-off in the NFL. Baseball, it's a little bit after 30. NFL, it is 30. So I get what he's saying, plus the heightened awareness about concussions and everything. I get it. If I'm the Rams, I'm pissed that he said that out loud.
Yeah, I
because
mean,
of what you just said. What are you supposed to do? In 2 years
I get it from Puka's perspective that you don't want to be one of these receivers that are just old, kind of hanging around the league, becoming. You see him go from stars to just kind of role players and then veteran pieces. I get when we're not really wanting to do that, but yeah, kind of surprised he said that. We have 2 more minutes here, so we'll do a 4th story on ESPN. Teams are saying Rodgers is still deciding. Several organizations believe the quarterback isn't, quote, close to making up his mind. What is there to make up his mind for? It's Pittsburgh Steelers or retire. Who is bringing him in unless there's like a dark horse? I heard the Niners possibly or something like that. I don't understand what it's either play or don't.
I did see some crazy trade scenarios last night when I was looking around different Niners blogs saying that Brock Purdy and Brandon Ayuk could both get shipped off to the same team in return for some high draft capital, and then you bring in Aaron Rodgers to the quarterback 1 year. I hate it. Terrible idea. But it does feel like it's Steelers or retirement. I would expect that there's going to be an Adam Schefter tweet sometime soon that says mystery team in on Rodgers. Clickbait.
because Russ is still, the only other quarterback that's somewhat relevant that could start is Russ. I don't think Russ is very good now, but I mean, he has a market. He's visited with the Giants. And then Rodgers visited with the Steelers. Yeah, I feel like the story's getting overblown. And of course, Rodgers is trying to steal the offseason attention once again. But he waits too long, and Pittsburgh gets a quarterback in the draft. They may tell him to pound sand, and the draft's only a month away. So I don't really know what he's doing unless they didn't offer him a contract.
Pound sand, that's a good one. Our buddy Rich jumping in on YouTube saying the Terps might just upset Florida. They just squeaked by. Florida, this Walter Clayton Jr., that's his name, right?
Yeah, he transferred from not Akron, but
where did that guy come from? What a stud, dude. The shots he was hitting over UConn in the last couple of minutes of that game were impressive as hell. They got themselves a gem in him. That made me feel better about Florida. UConn was playing some championship pedigree basketball. That was about the best shot UConn could have given, and Florida withheld.
And even though UConn was an 8 seed, they still had that stigma that they're the champs. They
still had Caravan on their team. They still had guys who just won back-to-back.
13 straight NCAA playoff tournament games, which is insane. And it looked like UConn was going to win the game. With about 5 minutes to go, it looked like they were going to win. But I think I agree with you that Maryland could win that game. But I do with you, Fletch. I feel like I actually look at Florida higher now because they beat UConn.
I was more impressed with Florida after that game than I was them going into the game. Impressive as hell win. I also, if we have a second here, Dan Hurley post game was one of the most nauseating things I've ever seen. Him saying, at least I don't have to go throw out first pitches all over the country this offseason. Shut up.
Yeah,
dude.
Hurley's such an idiot.
Go interview with 5 more NBA teams and get offered $60 million a year and say no.
Yeah, that's what he's mad about.
Offer?
The Lakers offered him big money, like 90.
It was insane.
But UConn gave him a lot, but not as much. And I'm happy the Lakers didn't get him.
I would be. My God, Dan Hurley is nauseating at the podium, and then him walking back. As he's passing the Baylor guys, he's like, "Hopefully the refs don't f you like they effed us, man." Like, shut up, dude. Dan Hurley.
Well, he's like puffing his chest out, and then he acts like a little kid when they lose. It's like, dude, get out of here.
And him at the podium with his head in his hands, saying, "Yeah, I mean, there's parts of it. Like I don't have to go out throw first pitches all around the country because we're on a victory tour."
Matt Bradley had the best line ever when he said, "Hey, we may have lost the championship, but at least we don't have to go back to Connecticut."
Golly, man. UConn, I get it. Dan Hurley's had a lot of success. I would distance myself from that person. I can't stand him. All right, take a quick break. When we come back, let's react to something that Padre fans are saying right now. Padre fans are pissed at a couple of names who have made the opening day roster for the team. Let's talk about them. Coming up next, San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760. Your home for March Madness. Catch all the action from the playing games to the Final Four. Sweet 16 action gets going Thursday and Friday. It'll begin at 4 o'clock right here on your home for March Madness in San Diego. San Diego Sports 760. Big news of the day. We are streaming on YouTube now. You can type in San Diego Sports 760. All one word, at San Diego Sports 760. Find us there. If not, if you're having trouble with it, I know a couple of people have. My Twitter account at Fletch Sports, the station Twitter account at SD Sports 760. You can find the link there. We would love a subscription. We will give you a shout out before the end of the show today if you do. All right, Sammy, these Padres, obviously they get going on Thursday. They'll be playing against the Atlanta Braves with Jerks and Profar on the Atlanta Braves. But the Padres, at least the position players for the Padres are set. We know who the team on the bench, on the field is going to be. We don't know all the pitching rotation yet with the Yu Darvish injury and some decisions still to be made. But Brandon Lockridge becomes the last man in. Brandon Lockridge, who is a speedy left fielder, outfielder, kind of utility man in the outfield, but fast and younger than Jason Hayward, who is the presumed starter day one out in left field for the Padres, to pair with Jackson Merrill in center, Fernando Tatis Jr. in right. Brandon Lockridge takes the final spot. That's not the one Padre fans are ticked off about. Padre fans, a little bit, I've seen online, are a little bit of an eye roll when it comes to Yuli Gurriel, who's 40 years old, and Martin Maldonado, who's 38 years old. I think the eye rolls come in because neither of those guys have really hit over the last few years. Martin Maldonado has never really hit. Martin Maldonado is beloved by Mike Schultz for some reason. He's compared him to Yadier Molina. You know what Yadier Molina did?
Yeah, that was a little much. I was like, let's relax on
Yadier Molina hit at like one of an all-time rate for a catcher. That is not who Martin Maldonado is. So we'll see what the exact reasoning behind Mike Schultz and AJ Preller having those two guys come on. But I gotta say, I kind of agree with Padre fans. If you're going to give up a roster spot, it might as well be for someone who's young with a ton of upside.
Right, like Sheets, Lockridge. I mean, even Iglesias, I know he's not super young, but just reading off some stats
he's a culture piece.
I mean, last year in late May, the Mets hit 337, 381, 448, over 298 plate appearances. I know he's a career 277 hitter, but still, Iglesias gives you some pop, a bat in the lineup that can give you some trust. I understand Padre fans with the Gurriel. It's in Maldonado. It's, to your point, Fletch,
they're 38 and 40.
They're 38 and 40. They will not be here next year or the year after. We don't know if they forced their minor league contract hands. They had something to say there, but it is disappointing with a team that we've been talking about didn't spend the way that we probably wanted them to. I like Sheets. I like Lockridge. Give you some upside. This is why Connor Joe in the lineup. Connor Joe, yes, Jason Hayward's probably your better opening day starter. But
he's 35.
He's 35, and his best days are behind him. Connor Joe gives you some upside. I like the youth movement, so I understand where people are pissed off at the Gurriel. And
that's probably where I would lean. I would lean on the fact that you have to have young guys who are making around $1 million a year or less contribute to this team. How many times have we talked to Kevin Acee over the last 2 years saying that the formula for the Padres to have long-standing success around Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts, who have these long, crazy contracts, is to get people up with the big league program who are not making nearly as much money, but contributing almost as much as those guys. And so like our buddy Rich said on YouTube, throw in Jason Hayward with the other old guys. I'd rather have younger guys who might end up being with the Padres for the next 7 or 8 years. I think that's what fans are a little bit ticked off about this morning. And I would sympathize with that. I get it. I would probably rather get somebody you haven't heard of out of your minor league system, give them a shot on opening day, because they're going to be part of what's contributing to this culture for years to come, where I don't know that guys like Gurriel or Maldonado will be. I think that this is the one and done for both of them, probably for sure, unless they have some kind of crazy year. And then do you really want to pay him after that anyway?
70470, start your message with team. Let us know your thoughts on this. 70470, start your message with team. Do you like these ads? I'm with you. It just puts more pressure on Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado, Bogaerts, and Merrill. I'm okay with everyone except Merrill having a ton of pressure on them. Merrill has earned his stripes last year. Excellent player, going to be a superstar. But again, we keep going back to this. It wouldn't be surprising if after the first month of the year we talk about Jackson Merrill, a little bit of regression. Not saying he's not going to be the player that we all think he's going to be, but it's normal. They've had a whole offseason to prep for you. He was on a tear there at the end of the season. Tatis never really has slow starts. He's always a baller. Machado and Bogaerts, the way this team is made, they cannot get off to a slow start. Bogarts needs to start playing like his contract. And Machado, to Machado's credit, halfway through the season, he usually gets on a tear. It's usually about June, July, he gets going. But with the way this team is constructed, and honestly, with these ads at the back end of the lineup, that doesn't add a lot of pop in the bat. They're going to need Machado to step up early.
And I wish Connor Joe was heading to the big leagues. It appears he's going to start in AAA for the Padres this year, which I was excited when the Padres signed him.
Yeah, that's surprising
upside.
to me that he didn't make the roster.
I mean, well, it could be 2 weeks in the minors and then he's up with the big league
I'm
team.
sure he's
we don't know.
Come up fast, but
unfortunately, these are the conversations you're stuck with 4 games before the season starts. 4 days before the season starts. I'm sure on Thursday we'll all have a better idea of what's going on. Like, I don't know who's starting in left field. Is it going to be Jason Hayward? Did Brandon Lockridge do enough? I think he hit 394 over the last couple of weeks of spring. He had a home run the other day. Did Brandon Lockridge, the speedy left fielder who's a defensive superstar that you hope has a good bat, did he do enough to maybe steal some innings away from Jason Hayward, who's the presumed starter out in left field? There's a lot of questions to be answered. Good news is meaningful baseball gets played on Thursday.
I'm excited for this series against the Braves because, I mean, let's not forget these teams. Everyone talks about the Dodger matchup last year. The Padres did beat the Braves last year in the wild card and really took it to the Braves. I mean, the Braves were limping to the finish line, a lot of injuries, but still, Padres absolutely, the bats were alive, putting a lot of pressure, and then carried it into the Dodger series. Just went cold in the middle of Game 3. But this will be fun. Chris Sale against Michael King. I hope the Padres frontline starters. You're putting a lot of pressure on King and Cease, and they've earned it. I think that they can handle it. But we're going to need to see King and Cease ball out early, and hopefully Pivetta as well. Hopefully Waldron, Vasquez, Kolek. One of these guys. I know Kolek's getting ate up today a little bit in the spring training, but they got to get it going early in the season.
Yeah. So the other names left off the big league roster, Eggy Rosario, who we actually learned is the longest tenured Padre at this point. Eggy Rosario will not be with the opening day squad. Tyler Wade, who was, Kevin told us 2-3 weeks ago at this point, he was sliding in as that culture piece that Jerks and Profar left. Like Tyler Wade apparently was every Padres favorite Padre. And we did a competition on Instagram last week on 1015 KGB, where we had some tickets to give away for the Saturday game with the Padres and the Braves. And it was name your favorite Padres player in your name, and you're entered into this chance to win tickets. A third of them were Tyler Wade. Like, he was a fan favorite, and he didn't make the opening day roster. That part kind of sucks when you look and see Tyler Wade, young guy, could have made the team, and a few old guys who were not expecting to stick around San Diego for very long did make the team. So we'll see how all that changes. Thursday is going to be a brand new day as the Padres open up this season. Maybe we see Tyler Wade before long. Maybe we see Connor Joe before long. But at least to start, the bench is filled out and the pitching rotation TBD, which is exactly how the Padres wanted to go into this year. Some sarcasm intended. All right, take a quick break. When we come back, the NBA, the West is heating up like crazy. The East feels like it's kind of decided, but the West is getting insane. And right now, download that PrizePicks app. Use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. You're going to get a $50 bonus when you play your first $5 entry. Baseball season's right around the corner. We've been talking about it all day. Padres get going on Thursday. You want to make sure your season-long entries are into the PrizePicks app before the season begins, because they will be null and void after the season begins. Download it today. Start checking it out. My favorite one that I've been playing with is Fernando Tatis Jr. More than 2.5 games this year with multiple home runs. I feel like I like the more than on that one, especially if Nando's about to have an MVP type of year. Take your sports opinions, turn them into real cash on the PrizePicks app. It's free to download, and once you download it, use promo code Fletch, FLETCH. Get that $50 bonus and start crafting some entries today. Does not matter what the sport is. College basketball, obviously, we're still in the middle of it. Baseball right around the corner. The playoff race in professional basketball is really starting to heat up. That's what we're talking about next. But download the PrizePicks app today. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks.
This report is sponsored by Valley View Casino and Hotel. The Lakers are in Orlando tonight. Start a 4-game road trip. They're currently favored by 3.5. Tip will be at 4:00. The Lakers coming off a loss in Chicago where they gave up 146 points. Everyone is healthy except Rui is questionable. And the Padres, according to Kevin Acee, have finalized their opening day roster. Martin Maldonado, Gavin Sheets, Brendan Lockridge, Yuli Gurriel, and Jose Iglesias will round out the bench. They will get going on Thursday at home against the Atlanta Braves. Chris Sale will get the stripe for the Braves, and Michael King will be going for the Padres. The Braves are currently a -130 favorite on the money line. Start your year revved up at Valley View Casino and Hotel. On March 28th, one lucky winner will cross the finish line with their choice of 4 luxury cars, sparkling jewelry, or a spin for $100,000 during the 3 C's giveaway, only at San Diego's favorite casino.
San Diego Sports 760. It's the Fletch Zone. Ben Fletcher, Sammy Long with you. Today, turns out, March 24th, pretty important day in history. 24 years ago today in a spring training game, Randy Johnson hit the bird. One of the most legendary moments in baseball history. By the way, those tickets, because it was a spring training game, are so rare that they're actually some of the most expensive ticket stubs you can get on the open market. And then 20 years ago today, maybe the biggest impact on my personal life, The Office debuted on NBC.
Hell yeah, on all our lives.
Isn't it crazy? 20 years ago today, that show is that
is the show that you can watch anytime. I've watched The Office like maybe
I was watching it last night as I was going to bed.
It's because some shows it's like they're fantastic, but there's not really rewatch value. The Office is maybe the most rewatchable show of all
I'd argue it gets better every time you rewatch it. That's crazy. 20 years ago today, The Office came out. 24 years ago today, Randy Johnson hit a bird with a ball as he was pitching off the mound. By the way, YouTube chat brought this up. You could follow us on YouTube at San Diego Sports 760. Give us a subscription. We'll stream live there every single day. But George Foreman passing away over the weekend.
Yes.
Sammy, you're a huge boxing fan. George Foreman, the oldest active heavyweight member ever to hold the title. He held it at 45 years old. That's the oldest by about 8 years, I think. The second, Evander Holyfield had it at 37 years of age.
Yeah.
But George Foreman at 45 years, obviously one of the most impactful names in the world of boxing, dies at 76 years old. That's a tough one, man.
Yeah, George Foreman, the man. And Mark Kriegel has a great piece on ESPN if you guys want to check it out. George Foreman, I mean, just the legacy. Obviously was heavyweight champ of the world, fought against Ali in one of the craziest fights of all time. Quit boxing, goes to be a priest, and then comes back. There's a great film that was made about him. I forget the name of it, but you can look it up. George Foreman film. And then comes back, beats Michael Moore at age 41? 40? What did you read there, Fletch?
He was 45 when he was
45. Beat Michael Moore, and Michael Moore was a really good heavyweight fighter. People forget Michael Moore was winning that fight. It was back on HBO. Please look it up if you've never seen it before. And in the round 9, I believe, hits him with a 3-punch combo and puts his lights out. And then you talk about George Foreman, who goes from being when he's coming up in his young days was thought of as the bully. And if you watch the movie, you kind of understand from his background to then the guy smiling, selling George Foreman grills on all our TVs for years. But just rest in peace to one of boxing's legends, and just wish him nothing but the best. He was the greatest. So fun to watch.
This might be what you're talking about. Released in 2023, Big George Foreman, The miraculous story of the once and future heavyweight champion.
It's really good movie. It's his whole backstory and kind of everything. And when he beat Michael Moore, I mean, he was big and chubby, and it was crazy, and he was a massive underdog, and that's why we love the heavyweight division in boxing, because anything can happen.
Yeah, and hopefully it's coming back to form here over the next couple of years. Dana White getting back involved in the world of boxing. Maybe we see a resurgence, but that's what it's been missing. It's the big heavyweight guys. Like Tyson Fury's awesome. Wilder.
Deontay Wilder, he's done now. Usyk's kind of taking the new guard. He whooped up on Fury and Joshua twice.
But none of those are names like Ali, like Foreman, like Tyson.
Well, and you see Floyd, this is what we're coming out of in the boxing world. And I'm happy that Dana White and Turki Al-Sheikh are getting into it. They just released their TKO boxing structure that'll come out in fall, kind of formatted like the UFC. Is Floyd made it a thing to have an O at the end of your name. It was 50-0. That was what Floyd jumped out. And at the end of his career, he fought a Conor McGregor who wasn't a boxer. He fought a lot of guys past their prime. He fought Canelo when he was too young. Manny Pacquiao, he waited 4 years when he should have fought him in 2011. And Pacquiao actually broke his hand in the camp. Not discrediting what Floyd Mayweather did, but so many guys are scared of getting a loss. And back in the 80s and 90s, they all fought each other. And the guys, Mike Tyson had 6 losses, or they had many losses, but it's like, we don't care if you lose. We want you in the ring with people like that. That's why I respect Ryan Garcia, actually, because he really kind of does that. And I'm excited.
Just give us the best matchups possible, man. We'll watch. You care, I care. That's the whole mentality here. It is San Diego Sports 760. My name is Ben Fletcher. That's Sammy Long. Thank you for being here. If you're just trying us out today on a Monday, we do this every day, noon to 2, leading you right up to John and Jim, talking tons of San Diego sports and talking about what people care about in the world of sports. And right now, the Western Conference in the NBA actually looks like it's headed for a photo finish. This actually is going to be a lot of fun here at the end of the regular season, which the NBA has missed on the last few years. We haven't had enough drama building up for the end. Well, the West right now, 2 through 5 are all neck and neck in the West, meaning these next 2.5 weeks, every game is going to be meaningful. So hopefully the you care, I care factor goes up a notch here in the NBA. Lakers got a tough little road coming up, but they need that 2 spot as much as anybody, while Houston, Denver currently stand in the way. Sammy Long, my NBA expert, my Lakers diehard, how's this going to shake out in the West?
It's going to be fun. And to your point, Fletch, we haven't seen this photo finish in years. And when the Warriors were, the Durant, Curry years, it really felt like the only team that had a shot to stop him was the Cavs. And so that would happen in the NBA Finals, obviously. The Western Conference, the seeding really matters this year, because you're looking at the bottom of the bracket. Golden State's currently in the 6th spot. Minnesota's been playing some of the best basketball in the entire NBA, kind of what we thought this team was going to be when they traded Karl Anthony Towns, got Julius Randle, got Dante DiVincenzo. They've been playing great, and they're in the 7th. So where people are at, the 2, the 3, the 4, why everyone wants that 2 seed, even though it might mean a matchup if the Lakers get it with the Warriors, who's lethal, or Minnesota, is if chalk holds and you're thinking that the Thunder, the Lakers, and the Nuggets are probably a cut above everyone else, even though there's a lot of talented teams, that would mean the Thunder would have to play the Nuggets in the 2nd round and the Lakers would have to play someone else. And theoretically, you're looking at that as a Laker fan and waiting for them in the Western Conference Finals. Let the Thunder, let the Nuggets beat up on each other. But, I mean, no one's safe at the top, including the Thunder, including the Lakers, the Nuggets. I mean, the Warriors are lethal, and Jimmy Butler gives them a totally new dimension. And Minnesota, I think, is a really scary team to watch that people don't really want to play.
So if you're curious, and I'll be honest, this surprised me a little bit today. If you've been super hyper focused on college basketball because of the March Madness tournament, if you've been super hyper focused and getting ready for Thursday when the Padres open up their 2025 season, this may be something you missed. But right now in the NBA on the Western side of the bracket, Houston, Denver, Los Angeles, Memphis, Golden State, Minnesota, and the Clippers, all within 6 games of each other, all battling for those playoff spots on the Western side of the NBA. That's a hell of a run for the last 2 weeks. You talk about a give an F factor. Now these guys have reason to give an F, because they do need to be in better situations heading into the postseason. You want to avoid those play-in games at all costs. And so these teams like the Warriors, who are straddling that line with the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's a scary proposition for Steph and Jimmy to be in a situation where they're potentially in a winner-take-all situation in the play-in. They want to avoid that at all costs. So everyone's going to be fighting here at the end of the season, and that's all we ever want if you're a basketball fan.
And you're looking at the Lakers haven't hosted a home playoff series since 2011, 2012, one of those years. It's been that long. Even when
Back
they won
the Kobe days?
The Kobe days. Even when they won the title in 2020, that was the COVID year, they would have hosted a playoff series, but they weren't able to because of the pandemic and everything. But every other year, I mean, the Lakers have had to go on the road in Denver and been fighting to get in the play-in. It's the Western Conference is loaded. The Eastern Conference feels like it's Boston, and the Cavs are really the only shot to go beat them. I still think probably Boston's the favorite, because I don't know that. The Cavs are a really good team. I don't know if Donovan Mitchell by himself at the guard spot is enough to get past Brown and Tatum, and they're lethal. But the Western Conference is just stacked, and you might be able to find some value at Golden State. You look at Golden State felt like at the beginning of the year, kind of the Lakers too. They were washed. They were an older team. They weren't really young. And now you look at Golden State and you go, well, Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry are 2 of the most clutch players of all time in the playoffs. Are we really picking against them on a young Oklahoma City team or a Houston team or a Memphis team? I mean, it's going to be really fun.
We do have a ticket giveaway for you today. Let's see. How about that Outlaw Music Festival with Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hull at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater in Chula Vista on May 15th. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan sharing a stage. Get,
Oh yeah, this
get
is
out of
great.
here,
We got
dog.
we got tickets all week for this.
This is fun, man. I'm mad I just looked at this for the first time. If you want to win those tickets, you're going to have to hang on for about 6 or 7 minutes. We will give those away on the show today. But Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hole at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater out in Chula Vista, May 15th. For tickets and info, visit Ticketmaster.com. Are there 2 people alive not named Willie or Bob Dylan who've had a bigger impact on music in our lifetimes?
I mean, Bob Dylan changed songwriting forever.
Bob Dylan won the damn Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
Didn't show up to accept it.
He's the best. Well, I mean, watching the movie, like, and then what he did was basically a big FU to the music business when he was a folk hero. They kind of try to pigeonhole him, and he's like, no, I'm going to do rock music. It's so cool seeing artists and bands and rappers, whoever, that kind of change how their sound over the years. And we were talking about it last week, Green Day. I mean, they got crushed when they kind of changed from a punk band into a kind of poppy or rock band, and they sell out arenas.
There's going to be so much weed smoked at this concert.
Seriously, I'm about to say.
Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hole at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater.
Is Willie Nelson, if you got to smoke weed with one celebrity, who would it be?
I don't know. What's the Seth Rogen? Is that the answer everybody gives? Snoop Dogg?
Snoop would have to.
I honestly just put me in a room and let me watch the 2 of them. Seth Rogen and Snoop Dogg sitting in a room. I would just like to sit there and watch and see what happens.
The Howard Stern show, they got to do it. They were just sitting in there and the whole staff was like with them.
That's funny. All right, take a quick break. We'll wrap this thing up coming up next, and we will give those tickets away coming up next as well. So if you want a pair of tickets to the Outlaw Music Festival, keep listening. You're about 5 minutes away from winning them. It's San Diego Sports 760. San Diego Sports 760 for final time today. It is the Fletch Zone. John and Jim are coming up next. How about this? Right now, you want a pair of tickets to go see the Outlaw Music Festival featuring Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy String, Sierra Hull at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on May 15th. Tickets at info, go to Ticketmaster.com. If you want a free pair of tickets, call 877-767-4760. You are going to that show out on May 15th. Willie Nelson, Bob Dylan, Billy Strings, Sierra Hull. That is a hell of a show coming to Chula on the 15th of May. If you want to win, caller number 7 right now, 877-767-4760. Sammy, it is that time of year as we get ready for baseball season, which begins on Thursday, that all the different outlets and all the different ESPNs, Bleacher Reports, they like to put out their power rankings. If I may have some music, Sammy. Let's get to it. Power rankings. This one's from Bleacher Report. Dodgers at number 1. No surprise there. Phillies at number 2. Diamondbacks at 3. Braves at 4. Mets at 5. Padres at 6. Yes, you heard me right. All of those are National League teams. All of the top 5. Top 6 are National League teams in Bleacher Report's power rankings. And then you get into the Orioles, Yankees, Mariners, Brewers round out the top 10. So Padres at 6, Diamondbacks above them, Dodgers above them, 2 teams in the NL West that are above them. And then playoff competition of the Mets, Diamondbacks, Phillies, Braves. Braves, who the Padres will play in their first series. Anything wrong with that top 10 to you, Sammy?
I was answering for one of our callers, but yes, I read off the final 5 through 10 to me.
So the top 6 are all National League teams: Dodgers, Phillies, Diamondbacks, Braves, Mets, Padres, and then 7 through 10, Orioles, Yankees, Mariners, Brewers.
Yeah, I think the Diamondbacks deserve to be up there. I think the Yankees are off name brand. I think that team is definitely going to fall back. Garrett Cole not being there. I know they signed Max Fried, but losing Juan Soto, the Yankees are always going to be relevant because they're always liable, like the Dodgers, to make some big deal at the deadline, get someone there. But the National League, it makes sense. I mean, you have some big power sluggers in the NL. You have the Dodgers, obviously. You have the Phillies, who it kind of feels like we go through the same thing every year with the Phillies, that they're definitely an aging team, and it feels like at this point, the fact that they haven't won recently, I don't know if they're going to, but still, Bryce Harper, Schwarber. I mean, they got Marsh. They got a ton of guys in that lineup that can hit. And then you look at the Padres. Padres got big sluggers, Tatis, Machado. I like where they're at right now. I think right now where they're at is pretty fair given how the offseason has went.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Padres, your main competition this year, I would say look past the Dodgers. They are probably going to win this division going away. Your job is to beat the Diamondbacks in the regular season this year.
And the Giants. The Giants got better as well.
They did. All right. Speaking of the Padres, whose their first game is coming up on the 27th. Right now, as we speak, out in North Park, a brand new 100-foot mural of Jackson Farrell Merrill is going up in North Park. This is cool, man. No, that's not what it says, but it is Jackson Merrill.
Oh, okay.
I wish it said Jackson.
That would have been really
Merrill.
cool if it was
That
Farrell
would have
Merrill.
been badass. But it just says, "Let's go San Diego." It is Jackson swinging out a pitch. It's a pretty cool looking mural if you're in the North Park area. All right, before we get out of here today, a couple of texts that came in later in the show. 760, hey guys, don't the Padres have to cut Wadey, Tyler Wade? I feel like Schulte may quit if so. Did some digging. Tyler Wade is out of minor league options. Doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to be on the Padres, but since he did not make the opening day roster, I think he has to either be traded or go through the waiver process, and the Padres have to see if they can re-sign him once he goes through all the teams. Not a great position to be in, especially if what Kevin Acee said is true just a few weeks ago, that everybody on the Padres, Tyler Wade is their favorite Padre.
Yeah, hopefully, if it was a situation where you didn't have to go through waivers, the Padres could kind of do a handshake deal in the sense like, hey, we're going to bring you right back just right away. We're keeping you off the roster. Hopefully he doesn't get nabbed. I like Tyler Wade. I know, like you said, the entire team likes Tyler Wade. It'd be a bummer to see him go. But yeah, I mean, I assume I'm kind of surprised because Schilt does love him. So
Wadey. He's his weighty. 909 says STFC was down 2-0, then pulled one back before halftime. Were unable to equalize against Austin.
I messed up on that. I said it was 1-1.
I mean, I think Sammy was probably in the same boat as me on Saturday watching college basketball all day. It's March Madness time of year. But I watched the highlights of STFC. Luca De La Torre scoring for San Diego is huge. Look, San Diego gets his first goal. For the first time for them losing this season, you're not going to win every single game.
Yeah, it's like I watched the beginning of the game on Sunday against Austin, and Austin was putting pressure on them, the back nine, the first 10 minutes of the game, they were getting corner kicks left and right. So definitely hadn't really seen STFC get pushed back like that in the game early. But hey, again, to Ben's point, you're not going to win every game. If you would have taken, what's the record? 3-1-1 right now, or 2-1-2. You would have taken that heading into the season. So they're in a good spot right now.
Absolutely, man. We'll see what STFC continues to do this year, but I think it's a smashing success so far. We'll see when Chucky makes his way back to the team. But right now, it's a lot of fun, which is exactly what you want to be as an expansion franchise. All right, we got a couple minutes left before John and Jim get going here today. We have a very busy week. Tomorrow, my 3rd wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary. Well, I know. Yeah.
I haven't bought a present yet.
Why would you say that on the radio?
Oh, no. She's at work, so she's
Do
not
I need
here.
to dump it?
No, you don't need to dump it, but I don't know what I'm doing. So if you have any thoughts, I have basically between right now and
why didn't we say this earlier on air? We could
tomorrow at this time, I'll go out and buy a present after the show tomorrow. I'm not going to do it today. Are you insane?
So what are you more excited for, your anniversary or your birthday? And be honest.
Okay, so here's the deal. When you get married 2 days before your birthday kind of ceases to exist. It's also my 29th birthday, which is a nothing birthday.
Well, we're going to have some surprise. We're not on air on Thursday.
You get to 25. That's your last real fun birthday. And then 26, 27, 28, 29, at least my experience with 26 through 28, they all are just nothing.
30 seconds. What was your favorite birthday you ever had?
My 21st, I was in Vegas.
Yeah, me too.
It was insanity. It was chaos. My buddy got $800 robbed from him. I ended up falling asleep on the side of the street trying to sneak into Topgolf because I really wanted to go play Topgolf. It was.
I did Topgolf. Why did you fall asleep? You have to Topgolf's at the end of the strip.
I know our hotel was actually just off the strip, across the street from the MGM, which is where the Topgolf is. So I really didn't fall asleep, but my buddy did end up kind of shouldering me the rest of the way back to the hotel. It was a 21st birthday in Vegas.
You lived it up. You did it right. If you remember your 21st birthday, did you really live it right? I don't know.
I also woke up with an extra $300 in my pocket that I had no idea how.
You had a hangover situation.
Don't know how that happened, but it was a lot of fun. All right, Sammy and I are done for today. John and Jim coming up next. It's San Diego Sports 760. Thank you for being here.